Beowulf, a tale in 3 acts. Actually, the poem's divided into 43 sections called fits, but I'm trying to simplify things a little bit. Act 1, Depredation and Deliverance, Grendel. Scene 1, the harrowing of Heorot. In times of old, the fortunes of war favored Hrothgar, king of the Danes. Then turns he his mind to hall building, the making of a mead hall to be the wonder of the world forever. Heorot is its name, meaning stag, a symbol of royal authority, and there his people live in happiness. Oh, that until Grendel, grim and greedy, a monstrous marauder of the moors, tormented by the joyful revelry of the hall, comes in the darkness to despoil and slay. For 12 winters, seasons of woe, he rules in defiance of right, and the Danish people shoulder suffering and sorrow. Scene 2, Bravery and Boasting. Hearing of their hardship, a hero of the Youts set sails over the Swan Road, the sea, to seek the beleaguered king. Arriving with 14 men, Beowulf announces his intention to the defender of the Danes. Bathed in the blood of enemies have I been, sea brutes have I slaughtered in the wine-dark waves, monsters have I matched, and now with your leave, Grendel's nemesis shall I prove. Proud boast, but Unferth, who sits at Hrothgar's feet, is filled with envy and says, "Were you not the one who wagered with a war comrade that you would prove the stronger in swimming on the open sea? And were you not bested at the end of 7 days? How then can you hope to help against this horror?" Beowulf replies, "Beer, not wit, has brought forth these words, O Unferth. I proved my power by swimming with a sword, fending off foul things when pulled under the waves, and teaching those beasts my flesh was not for feeding on. No such feats have I heard of you, you who are known not for facing death on the field, but for killing your own kin. Grendel shall find in me a different foe." This proclamation by Beowulf pleases the Danelord well. To him, as to no other before he entrusts the defence of his hall, hope is renewed, merriment made, and then all scuttle to their beds as the shades of dark descend. Scene 3, Grendel in his grasp. In the hall with his men the Youtish warrior lies. To augment his glory, sword he eschews, for in his hands is the strength of 30 men. In strength of limb, and in the Lord's favour, Beowulf thus puts his trust. Then the monster comes. No drinking of ale is in the hall that night. Rather, a soldier Grendel slays and bolts down his blood. No gifts are given out by the king that night, but Grendel finds himself given a grip harder than any in Middle-earth. No singing of songs is in the hall that night, but a wail of woe and cry of excruciation rebounds among the rafters. Sinews split, bone-lappings burst, and Grendel's arm tears free as a result of the hero's grasp. Granted the glory of winning, Beowulf has fulfilled his boast. Peace reappears, celebration ensues. Hrothgar even speaks of making Beowulf his heir. All in happiness go to the rest. Oh, that until Act 2, Depredation and Deliverance. Scene 1, a murderous matriarchy. Hastening home, the monster lives, and long enough to alert one more terrible than he, a kindred spirit, hideous to behold, bound to avenge the ravaging of Grendel. But what could be more fearsome than the first foe? The bestial Behemoth? The leering Leviathan? Nay, steel thyself, for the enraged agent of revenge is none other than Grendel's mother! To the hall of Heorot she rushes, crushes in her jaws a beloved soldier of the king, retrieves the trophy of her only son's arm, and flees then back to the depths of her lair. Scene 2, a descent into the deep. Taking his men and tracking the creature, Beowulf comes to the edge of a tarn, a grim-looking lake. It's infested with reptiles, with writhing sea dragons slouching on nearby slopes. Indifferent to death, he gets into his war gear and plunges into the pool. Tusks tear at his chainmail, talons seek to sink into his skin. Clutching and carrying him to her cavern, Grendel's mother pounces with pointed knife. His blade can do no damage, but the ruler of heaven redresses the balance, drawing Beowulf's eye to an ancient sword. With it he smites the slaughterer, ending forever the damage to the Danes. Blood wells up to the surface, so that the Youtish warriors are dismayed. All think their lord has perished, until he breaks the surface of the waves. A prize he possessed, proof of his prowess. With the heavy head of Grendel he hies back to Hrothgar, giving firm demonstration that his deed is done. Scene 3. Reward and a warning. Great gold the king gives him, abundant bounty he bestows. Resolute in hardship, the warrior's reputation will now stand fast. No worthier man, Hrothgar affirms, could be king of your people, should the present rulers perish. But with his word of praise, Hrothgar gives a warning as well. Thu thalerbdon gumkist unyet, ich this good bethe erert wintrum frud. Learn from this and understand true values, I who tell you have wintered into wisdom. It's a great wonder how Almighty God sometimes allows the mind of a man of a distinguished birth to follow its bent, grants him fulfillment and felicity on earth. He permits him to lord it in many lands until the man in his folly forgets that it will ever end. The whole world conforms to his will. He is kept from the worths. All that, until an element of overweening enters him and takes hold, while the soul's guard, its sentry, drowses. O flower of warriors, beware of that trap. Choose, dear Beowulf, the better part, eternal rewards. Do not give way to pride. Such an eventuality may seem unlikely, as Beowulf is loyal to his lord. Time, however, will tell what may transpire. Act 3. Depredation and Deliverance. The Dragon. Returning Hughlach, his lord and uncle, Beowulf recounts his adventures, speculating in passing on the forthcoming marriage of Hrothgar's daughter to one Ingeld, lord of the Helobards. Meant to bring peace to the warring tribes, the fate of the marriage is yet uncertain. Beowulf predicts that the feud will fester until Ingeld breaks the bond by bloodletting and betrayal. To blood feuds the Outs are not themselves immune. Age-old enemies, the Scyldings, cut down Hughlach and his only son. Beowulf sorrowfully ascends and wards the land for 50 winters. Old and wise he grows, as warden of the land. Oh, that a servant stumbling into a cavernous treasure trove rouses its ancient guardian to wrath. Death the dragon deals, folk flee from his fire, and the hall Beowulf has hewn is burned, beams and all. For the final time Beowulf makes his boast. By courage will I conquer, or battle shall bear me away. With him 11 warriors to the dragon wind their way, but against the Aglacan, the monster or fearsome one, a word also used here to describe Beowulf, he pits himself alone, trusting this time entirely in his strength. The warrior soon is furled in flame. Battle-fire billows and pushes Beowulf back. In his moment of need his fearful followers flee. All but one. Beowulf, brave battle companion, goes to help the hero, saying but this: Lay off, Beowulf. Go on, dear Beowulf. Do everything you said you would do when you were still young and vowed you would never let your name and fame be dimmed while you lived. Your deeds are famous, so stay resolute, my lord. Defend your life now with the whole of your strength. I shall stand by you. Goaded again by the goal of glory, Beowulf slices at the serpent, only to find his sword fracture from the force. In a rush of flame, the dragon sinks its fangs into Beowulf's neck, only to have Beowulf boldly plunge his blade into his body. Gore gushes, strength is sapped away. Dragon and hero lie upon the ground together. Perishing the riches of the worm, the dragon, Beowulf passes to his people, but his people perceive only that their defender is departing. In his absence, they deem, attackers will not delay. Laudable though his life has been, formidable to foes though he's been found, dauntless though the prince he's proved, his death draws nigh their doom.